Joining us now, Minnesota Congresswoman Angie Craig, ranking Democrat on the House Agriculture Committee, which has jurisdiction over SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Congresswoman Craig, thank you for coming to the weekend. So the Washington Post Ipsos poll about this bill had two interesting stats. 1/3 of the people surveyed had no opinion of the so-called big, beautiful, whatever it is, bill, and 2/3 had heard little or nothing about it. And I bring up those data points because I'm wondering, what do Democrats need to do to continue to break through to voters about just how bad this now law is?
Well, we have to communicate every single day about the impact of this bill. 17 million Americans are going to lose their health care. And by the way, everyone's health care costs are going to go up because that uncompensated care that hospitals are going to have to write off, those costs are going to be borne by others within the healthcare ecosystem. We have a job to do now. And the last time I saw Republicans celebrate like that on the White House lawn, after passing the 2017 tax cut, I was among 60-something Democrats who came into the next Congress and took over the majority. And we're going to go out and communicate like we have never communicated before, and people are going to feel it.
You know, Congresswoman Craig, everyone on this network, Democrats, even a lot of Republicans are saying this is going to do something in 2026. I want to play one Karl Rove on Fox News, because don't take it from us, take it from him.
I think it'll have a huge impact on 2026 because, remember, as these changes, particularly the Medicaid changes, come into effect, people are going to be losing their coverage.
And Congresswoman, one of the difficulties for Democrats is that Republicans were smart here, right? The tax cuts happened pretty quickly, and then the cuts to Medicaid and the changes to that program happen after. So talk about the difficulty of trying to explain to people that something is coming, even though we will see hospitals closing, so there will be evidence that something bad happened in this bill to many people.
Well, think about this. The lack of extension for the ACA tax credits, that's going to come into effect after the end of this year. And for years and years, that's one of the reasons we won the majority in 2018's election for the next session of Congress. It's because they had tried for years and years and years to take away, to end, repeal the Affordable Care Act. Well, 4 million Americans no longer have the tax credits. And what that's going to do is it's going to make healthcare unaffordable on the exchanges out there in the marketplace. And again, I was working for a Fortune 500 company and implemented the ACA back in before I ran for Congress. And what ends up happening is the healthcare system starts to prepare for what's coming years in advance. And so these Medicaid changes, I guarantee you, when premiums go up, when costs go up, when people lose their coverage, they are going to begin to feel it. And Democrats, we have to be unified in our communication. And I can guarantee you what you saw this week from the House Democrats, we were absolutely unified in pointing out the most vulnerable in our country are going to bear the cost of this terrible betrayal of the American people.
Congresswoman, let's talk more about the communication, because to me this now law is a great sleight of hand on the part of Republicans and on the part of the president, because in the long-term impacts, the cuts to Medicaid and other things don't hit technically until after the 2026 midterm elections. And some other parts of it don't hit until after the 2028 presidential election. And I bring that up because in the short term, there are things that are in this law that people might feel sooner, such as the no tax on tips or no tax on car loan interest. Caveat: the car has to be made in America, and the $6,000 deduction for seniors getting Social Security, 65 and older. How do Democrats push back against those types of things in the bill that are front-loaded, that are meant to, I guess, make people think that they're benefiting from a law that's going to hammer them hard down the road?
Well, this administration has not been focused. They told their constituents that they would be focused on lowering cost. Certainly, of course, we shouldn't expect anything different from Republicans than try to get away with sleight of hand. Democrats can't let them get away with this. We can't let them get away with this. The Trump administration, these across-the-board tariffs are going to hit Americans hard. They're going to hit Minnesotans hard. And we've got to make sure that we're out there talking every single day about our focus on lowering costs for Americans. You know, this is how those of us who have been winning in swing districts across this country, those who've been outperforming the top of the ticket for the last several elections, my D+1 district, Jonathan, I won by almost 14 percentage points in the last election. We can't let them get away with the sleight of the hand. But I'm telling you, there are elements in this bill that Americans are going to feel, and they're going to feel it, and they're already feeling it, that this administration has done nothing to lower costs for them. And we've got to make sure that we communicate that.
Congresswoman, you're the ranking member on the House Ag Committee, which oversees SNAP. You know, 3 million people are going to lose access to SNAP. $285 billion of SNAP food assistance is being cut because of this bill. Talk about that, because, you know, we've talked a lot about the taxes. We've talked a lot about the health care, and for good reason. But SNAP, we're talking about either poor people who are trying to make it, or a lot of kids eat because of SNAP in this country.
That's right. SNAP is the single most successful anti-hunger program that this country has ever seen. And in fact, every dollar invested returns about $1.50 into the U.S. economy. It's seniors, it's the disabled, it's children. 70%, almost 70% of SNAP is made up of these three populations. And look, I gave a story this week at a Democratic press conference, a woman named Yolanda, who was a veteran in our country, who had a child suffering from cancer. She needed SNAP for a period of time because she couldn't work while she took care of her child. She didn't have access to specialized health care in her rural community. These are the families that are going to suffer because of this cruel bill. 42 million Americans need some help at some point in time to help with food assistance at a time when food costs have been going up. And this is just one of the most cruel elements of the bill, that we're going to attack the vulnerable among us just to give those tax breaks to the 2%. If Democrats were on the House floor this week talking about a bill that helped the middle class, that cut taxes for the middle class and helped the most vulnerable, that actually let the top 2% tax rate go back up to what it was in the Clinton era, that would have been a bill that we could talk about and work with Republicans on. But this is just cruel, and it's indicative of the Republican Party and the MAGA party that it has become.
All of this reminds me of something my mom used to tell us when we were little. Almost all of us are one paycheck away from needing extra help from someone. Congresswoman Angie Craig, thank you so much for coming on this morning.